Jagrata. Jai Masters. Not so long ago, decades ago, people were not as conscious about their food, about their diet, about the care for their body. I mean, they took care of diseases and things, but they didn't understand at all, not even close, how much of an influence your diet and smoking and things like that had on your health. To look back, it looks barbaric to see how people did not take care of their bodies. Now it's common. There's organic food, there's vegan, there's all sorts of stuff. But even going shy of that, the whole American diet has changed. People understand that your food is very important. And there's been a real move, very big move, on stopping smoking because we know how unhealthy it is. Do you know that you will reach a point in your life and your spiritual growth where you realize what you do with your mind, the food you eat of your thoughts, is thousands of times more important to your health and to your state of well-being than what your diet is. If you could get your thoughts together, and we'll talk about that, you could eat Twinkies and pasta and Cokes, and you'd be fine. You'd have a much happier life than if you sit there and struggle with your diet the way we do, but did not deal with your thoughts. People don't know that, just like they didn't know how influential the diet was. Now, what does this mean? You can't know how influential your thoughts are on the quality of your life until you realize you are not your thoughts. This is why I try to belabor this as much as possible. If you're sitting here and your thoughts are saying, yeah, it's true, I had some trouble with my diet, but I'm really not focused on, those are the thoughts I'm talking about. I'm not talking about something every once in a while that pops up. I'm talking about the constant dialogue that is created by your mind. That is what I mean by thoughts. Not bad thoughts, not good thoughts, just thoughts. The mind creates thoughts. That's what it does. It is a thought-generating machine. If you put it on a table and step back from it, you would see thoughts coming out. That's what it boils down to. It just creates thoughts. It's always thinking something, isn't it? What do I want? What do I don't want? What do I do wrong? What do I do right? Why does this have to be like this? It's not fair. Yeah, but what am I going to do about it? I can't do anything. You can't do anything about anything. Just all of that is what I mean by thoughts. But nobody will listen to me. Somehow it just goes on constantly. It's just like a doctor saying, my God, you're getting cancer. You're smoking. What's the matter with you? We have 100% correlation between smoking and lung cancer. And nobody's listening. Nobody's listening, nothing. Same thing with your diet. So especially health care professionals that are taking care of people's bodies should understand how far off we were in understanding how important the diet is. I am telling you, you must come to the point of understanding that your mind is creating thoughts. You're not creating the thoughts. Your mind is creating the thoughts. It's exactly the same as if I put the mind over there on the table. I'm telling you, it will create thoughts. And you'd hear them talking. But because I got it at a distance from you, you would see that you're not it. Well, who are you? I'm the one who's noticing that my mind creates thoughts. Are you in there? Do you notice your mind creates thoughts? You notice there's thoughts in there all the time? Yes or no? Are you creating them? You know how I know you're not creating them? Stop them. Not a chance in the world. Okay? If you meditate for 12 years and you take, great teachings from the great lamas and swamis and all this stuff, maybe for a little while, 10 minutes, you can stop your thoughts. But it ain't going to be that way when you're at work, and it's not going to be the way you're driving your car. It's not going to be that way all the time. Your mind is creating these thoughts. You are the consciousness, the awareness, the being who is noticing that all these thoughts are being created in there. That is the first step. Like if you're eating unconsciously, I can't talk to you about your diet. You don't even know you're eating. I mean, literally, I don't eat much. I just have one meal a day, all day. It's a standard joke, all right? But you're not even paying attention. So you don't stand a chance to get it together because you're not even there. How about I say that? There are people like that, aren't there? They're not even conscious enough to say that they're there, noticing that eating is constantly taking place. Or they're not there. I don't smoke much. You smoke 3 packs a day. Oh, I don't smoke much. They're not paying attention. That is how we are about our thoughts, all of us. The mind is standing over there. It is constantly creating a barrage of thoughts. You are the consciousness. You are aware of it. While you are not aware of it, you don't see it. You don't notice how much it's happening. And then you don't notice what effect it has on you. So now let's talk about what effect it has on you. What difference does it make? They're private thoughts. It's not in your big business. He has your thoughts. So what? How's that hurt anybody? It hurts you and it hurts everybody. Hurts your family, hurts you, hurts your job. Your thoughts are more important than your diet. Your thoughts are way more important. Your thoughts are more important than who you marry. Your thoughts are more important than what your career ends up to be in terms of having an impact on your life. Your thoughts that are going on inside your head are the most important thing in your life. Now, there are more important things, but not while you're not dealing with your thoughts, all right? As long as those thoughts are just being created by themselves and you're letting them just spew and you're not paying attention and you'll see that they run your life, there's nothing more important than your thoughts. Nothing. You're going to see how powerful this is. In most cases, every single thing you're doing is because of your thoughts. If you get married, it's because of your thoughts. If you get divorced, it's because of your thoughts. If you decide to have children, it's because of your thoughts. If you decide to change careers, it's because of your thoughts. If you move from Florida to New York, because of your thoughts. Your thoughts just started thinking like that. And the next thing you know, bye-bye, nice knowing you. Why are you leaving? I don't know. Why are you getting divorced? I don't know. I'm just not happy anymore. All right, so let's talk about it. So what happens? First, do you admit and notice that you have thoughts? Do you admit and notice that you are constantly having thoughts? That there are no moments in which you're not having thoughts? There are different types of thoughts, but you're having thoughts. Then do you admit that you're not creating your thoughts? You don't decide what thoughts to have, do you? Let's say I meet somebody, I never met him before. Do you say, gee, when I meet him, I'm going to decide to like him? You don't. Your thought just says, God, I like him or I don't like him. Doesn't it? And then guess what that means? It means you like him or you don't like him. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard of. It's just a thought that's created by the mind. Eventually you will catch on it has nothing to do with you. Nothing. You are the consciousness that is aware that the thought got created. What right do you have to listen to that thought? You don't even know where it came from. You didn't create it. It just all of a sudden said, nah, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And then your mouth said, no, I don't want to go. It's so funny. It's like, I used to call it putting your mouth in gear. The mind's always moving, but the mouth's not always. But sometimes it is, all right? I told you not to do that. How am I going to put it up? It's so funny. It makes me laugh. So the mind creates thoughts. You are in here noticing this. If you are not noticing it, then you're sucked into it. And what is going to end up happening is you're going to find the following. Just like there are different vibrations of things in the world, there's weather that's pleasant, there's sights that are pleasant, there's music that's pleasant, there are thoughts that are pleasant, and there are thoughts that are not pleasant. Have you noticed that? What happens when you have not pleasant thoughts? You don't feel good. You're not a happy camper, are you? If your mind just starts saying, oh my God, I love him, but I got hurt so bad last time. I don't want to do this again. I can't do this again. I know, but it's even causing me trouble right now because I like him and yet I don't want to get hurt again. Here I am, tension again. Oh my God, I can't handle this. How you feeling? Those are thoughts. They're not you. They're thoughts. Thoughts are things. They are just being created by your mind. How do you feel when that type of thought is going on? You feel terrible. You feel lost. You feel in trouble, don't you? And sometimes your thoughts could say, God, this is the best day of my life. It's beautiful. Not a thing can go wrong. Everything's just going my way. It's a beautiful. How you feel? All right. Please pay attention. When you have nice thoughts, you feel good. When you have negative thoughts, you feel bad. We're getting some ground rules here. So you're not creating your thoughts. Your mind is creating your thoughts. You are experiencing your thoughts. Thoughts can be negative. Thoughts can be positive. The next thing you notice is that your emotions are in conspiracy with your thoughts. They go absolutely hand in hand. The moment your mind starts saying, I don't like this, your heart starts getting upset, doesn't it? It starts feeling weird. Who has noticed that their emotions line up with their thoughts? And if your mind always says, oh, I like her. Oh my God, that's exactly the kind of person I could like. What happens to your heart? Pay attention. Your thoughts are running your life. So because there can be thoughts that are not pleasant, and then they make you feel not pleasant, and they create unpleasant emotions, and because there can be thoughts that are pleasant, and they make you feel pleasant, and they make you feel uplifting, pleasant emotions, what happens? You're not stupid, even though if I never have this talk with you and you don't even know what's going on, you kind of subconsciously notice that there are nice thoughts and there are nice feelings that go with them, and there are bad thoughts and there are bad feelings that go with them. Which one do you like better? Duh. All right? And so then what happens is what you do is instead of paying attention to your thoughts and paying attention to everything I'm talking about, you say to yourself, I like nice thoughts. I don't like not nice thoughts. I like nice feelings. I don't like not nice feelings. What in the world makes me have nice thoughts, and what in the world makes me have not nice thoughts? And you're not stupid. You notice that, right? Certain people make your thoughts be nice. Certain way people treat you make your thoughts be nice. You get a new car, your thoughts are nice for a little while. Your car breaks down all the time, your thoughts aren't very nice. So you have noticed that events in the outside world seem to affect what thoughts your mind is creating. All right? That's very dangerous. Why? Because then instead of dealing with your thoughts, which are the problem, therefore the solution, you start trying to manipulate and control the world around you to be a way that you think will make your thoughts be nice, therefore your emotions will be nice. You want to be around people that you feel pleasant around. You want the weather to be the way you want it to be. You want to go on vacations and have experiences, and you try to avoid, to the best of your ability, things that would happen outside that would make the bad thoughts come up. It sounds perfectly reasonable. It's not reasonable. It's absurd. You don't even know why your mind is creating the thoughts it does. And yet you decided, yes, boss. Whatever you say, boss. Right? It's like all of a sudden the mind comes up and it says, I won't like that. Okay, we won't do it. I didn't like that. Make sure it doesn't happen again. And now you are out there devoting your life to try to control the environment around you so that it will make the thoughts be a little bit nicer and have the thoughts not be negative, and therefore the emotions will go with it. And if you're not careful, you'll be doing that for the rest of your life. You'll be out there attempting to control the world around you to try to appease what thought is going to come up. Are you always right about what thought will be generated about what happens? Have you ever sat there and said, oh, if this happens, I'll be so happy, and you were miserable when it happened? Have you ever sat there and said, if this ever happened, I would die, and it happened and turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to you? Yes or no? That's very important. So what's happening is the mind creates thoughts. You are subject to the types of thoughts it creates. They create nice feelings or bad feelings for you. So you try to figure out, by living in there, what it is that's going to appease this mind, what will make it not go negative, what will make it be positive, and then you go out there and try to think about how to make it happen, and by the time you're done, you're tired. I mean, really tired. Buddha said the highest state is compassion. I understand why. If I look at somebody who's doing that, I feel tremendous compassion. Why? One, you do not know what's going to appease your mind. Do you understand that? You're just kind of guessing. Your mind is deciding what to think, and it's the exact same mind that's deciding what you go move. Maybe you'll be happier in Vermont. It tells you that, doesn't it? Get a new one. Husband, wife, what's the difference, Something, this one's not working. It literally does that. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And you use the same mind to figure out what to do about it. It's insane. And it doesn't work. It will never work. You will never, ever, ever appease the mind, in other words, get the mind to create nice thoughts and not negative ones, because of controlling the environment around you. You will not do it. Why? Because just the act of figuring out how you want it to be creates tension, doesn't it? You don't really know what you want. You just know you want to be happy. And so now you got to figure out what your objective in life. How do you know what your career should be? How do you know if you should get married or not? How do you know what she should be like, or he? The next thing you know, your mind's trying to figure out what you want and what you don't want, and it can't. And so that's tension. And then if it does think it figured it out, Tell me what it's like to go out there and try to control the world to be the way you think it needs to be to make you okay. That creates tension. So the next thing you know, the very act of being okay made you not okay. That's what worry is. What is worry? That I have a way I want it to be and I'm afraid it might not happen. What's worry? I have a way I don't want it to be and I'm afraid it will happen. And so the very act of deciding that I need to get the world a certain way so that my mind will be good about it, so I can feel good in my heart, that whole cycle is very destructive because you will end up neurotic. You will end up tense. You will end up scared of doing the wrong thing. Ever feel scared of doing the wrong thing? Ever feel you said something stupid? You ever walked away from a conversation? Oh, why did I say that? I can't believe I said that. I'm so embarrassed. Why is the mind doing that? Because you're not okay. The mind is trying to figure out what needs to happen for you to be okay, and it has just defined that what happened as not supporting what it decided it needed to happen so that it could think nice thoughts. Do you see it? I beg you to see it, because you do not have to live like that, and you're not supposed to live like that. That is not what life's about. Life is not a war where you go out there and fight with everything that comes in front of you to be the way that will make you feel okay within your mind. What's the alternative? If you have noticed that getting something that's pleasing to your mind makes you feel good, and it does, if you've noticed that getting something that's displeasing to your mind makes you feel bad, then why not deal directly with the mind? Why don't I just deal with my mind? Why don't I just say, I'm in here, and there's this mind that creates thoughts. I think that if I have a choice, it should create nice ones. I'm going to do very basic level stuff here. Would you rather have your mind say nice things or not nice things? How do you feel when your mind says, I like something a real lot? How do you feel when your mind says, oh, I hate it, I don't like it at all? Yicky. Well then, why not get the mind to say nice things? It's like cheating. All right? If I can get the mind to say nice things, I don't have to do all that junk of fighting with the world. How about if I could get the mind to like everything that happens? Who would like a mind like that? That whatever happens, some girl walks up to you and says, oh, you're so cute, it's so beautiful, I love you so much, right? And you say, well, it's really nice. And they say, just kidding, not. That's funny. You're cute. And you really enjoyed both of them equally. How much would you pay for that mind? That'd be a good mind to have, wouldn't it? Okay? What's wrong with being happy? What's wrong with enjoying the experiences of your life? Right now you can't, because your mind will not let you. It complains about things, doesn't it? It thinks it needs things, and it complains about things if it doesn't get them, etc., etc. That very act causes you trouble. So I'm going to pull out the big guns in a second, right here. Does anybody have a mind that creates thoughts about things that are already over? They're already over. They're not even happening. Yet it creates thoughts that are troublesome. Does your mind ever create thoughts about the past that bother you? Why do you tolerate that? Why would you tolerate that your mind would do that? It's over. It happened 20 years ago. It happened 10 years ago. We got divorced 7 years ago. Why are you still doing this? Why are you still carrying on conversations about what they used to say to me and how mean he was? And why would you tolerate that your mind would be so broken that it would be bothering you with thoughts that are literally meaningless? Anything that happened to you in the past, it's over. It's not happening anymore. So why do I want a mind that has the right to create thoughts that haunt me with stuff that's not happening? Do you know that you can buy one that doesn't do that? You got to trade in the model. You don't live with a car that doesn't start. Why would you live with a mind that creates negative, ugly thoughts when there's no reason to? I mean, okay, if something's happening, I understand the mind has some trouble with it. I tell my mind, if something's happening, you're having trouble with it, you can tell me about it. But if something's not happening and you're having trouble with it because you're making it up, shut up. You don't get to do that. I'm not interested in you ruining my life over nothing. And I'm telling you, if your mind is bothering you about anything in the past, it's bothering you about nothing. Because the past is over. And the only reason it's still bothering you is because your mind keeps telling you about it and keeps bothering you about it. So you wake up and you realize how important it is to see the mind for what it is, a thought-creating machine, and then to learn how to get it to create nicer thoughts. right? It's your mind. It doesn't have to be like this. It's just that you're not paying attention, you're not doing anything about it, and its default state is pretty broken. Why is that? Just for kicks. Is your mind mostly negative? Okay? Why does it have to rain? I'm trying to let something go. I don't like the rain. I got to get out of the car. All right? It's too hot. Does it complain a lot? Pick on people. Well, he's all right. I mean, I really liked him and so on, but I don't know. The way he shuffles his foot when he sits down, it irritates me. He pulls the blanket off, and I just can't. If you have that going on in your mind, you are not going to be happy. I don't care who you meet. I don't care where you go. I don't care what your career does. If your mind is doing that, you are listening to that, and you're not going to be happy. Have you ever changed your mind? We use the term. Have you ever changed your mind? Then change the thing. It's that simple. Okay? Decide. When I asked you if you ever changed your mind, what's that saying? It is capable of changing, isn't it? It's amazing how fast it changes when you fall in love with somebody. They have totally different views than you. Oh, I guess I just wasn't looking at it right. Yeah, right. Yes or no? Will it change its mind real quick when it wants something? It is amazing. So you sit there and you take a final look at it, and you say, I got some work to do. This thing is broken. This thing is a weight, a burden I have to carry. I can't take them anywhere. You can fix that. Period. All right? How do you fix it? First, you have to understand why it's doing what it's doing. It's not against you. It's not evil. It's not trying to ruin your life. What has happened, I've explained this to you before, just get it down. There have been experiences that came into you and therefore your mind, because your mind picks up your experiences. You experience them, but your mind images them, relays them to you. It renders in your mind. So it comes in, and it's not a nice experience. I didn't say every experience is nice. There are experiences that are not nice. You had a fight with somebody. You saw a rattlesnake. Your mother yelled at you when you were little. There's all kinds of things that goes on. So there are experiences, not mind, experiences that don't feel so good. And there are experiences that feel very good. Some of your first dates, your first kiss, your wedding day, first child. There's all kinds of little experiences, graduation, people proud of you, your first job, your first music, concert, whatever it is. There's all kinds of things that happen that create pleasantness, that feel nice inside. Very good. That's not a problem. That's part of the experiences of life. All kinds of things are going to happen. They feel different, and you get to experience them. The problem happens when you decide you don't want to experience them. That is the entire problem. There's nothing wrong with what happens. That doesn't mean it's all pleasant. Sometimes it rains. Sometimes it's hot. Sometimes it's cold. It's not wrong. It just feels different. Fair enough? So events are that way. They feel different. That's not a problem because they're going to come and go. They don't stay. Nothing stays. But if you don't want to experience it, you who's in there, if you're resisting the experience of what actually happened, I don't want to experience this, it's not fair, I don't like that mommy and daddy got divorced. You resist the experience. The experience still happened. Resisting an experience that actually happened does not stop it from having happened. Does it? Ever. All it does is block it inside of you. And if you want to understand mind, that's all you have to understand. When you block it inside of you, it gets stuck in your mind, gets stuck in your energy system. You've blocked this experience because you weren't willing to have it. So it got to get stored somewhere because it didn't make it through you. If you're willing to have it, it just goes right through. It becomes part of you. You experience it. It becomes whole. It's like water, rivers. The rivers flow into the ocean all the time, don't they? What if the ocean didn't want them? Whoa, that would be it would start damming stuff up and things would flood all over the place. It would be a constant struggle. That's what you're doing. When these experiences happen, they come in and then they pour into your consciousness. They pour into your being and you become an experienced person. Have you ever sailed a boat? No. Have you ever sailed a boat? Yes. I have to go sail a boat. Guess who I want to go with? I want to go with the person that has the experience. How about you? So experiences are rich. They come in, they feed your being. But if you can't handle them, if you resist them, if you do not want to have had them, then the energy of the experience, which is real, it's got a vibration to it, the energy of the experience that came into you is resisted by you. You push it away. That act of pushing it away makes it stay stuck in your mind. If you push it away, it stays. If you let it go, it passes. It's just a thing that's done. There are things in your life that happen to you, but you don't let go of. They keep coming back up. They're in your dreams and you think about them all the time. That's because they didn't finish. They didn't make it through. So they have energy that's unfinished inside of you. In yoga, we have a name for it. It's called a samskara. It is an impression that got stuck in the mind due to an experience, an event that took place that the soul resisted. You, when I say soul, I mean you in there. You resist things sometimes, you push it away. If you do that, it stays. Now you've built all of these up inside, and I am telling you, I've watched it for 45 years. That's why your mind creates the thoughts that it does. It is not random. It is not evil. It is the fact that you have stored in your mind these past experiences, most of them negative. They weren't what you want. How many things that happen that aren't what you want to happen versus what you want to happen? If I asked you honestly, how many more things have happened in your life that you didn't like, that you didn't want, than things that really turned you on? Notice it's not even close, is it? You want to know why? I can tell you why. I'm a statistician. I can tell you why. There are 800 billion quillion things that could happen at any given moment. You've picked one that you wanted. This is the person I want to talk to me this way at that time when nobody else is around, when I'm feeling good and I don't have bad breath. And like, I've picked this thing. It's down to one. You might as well win the lottery. It's 1 in a trillion that what I want is going to take place. This is exactly what I want. This is the job I want, and I want to have an office that's in a corner, and I want to make this type of salary to start with. I don't want to be any glass ceiling, and I don't want anybody that's competing with me, and I want to have at least 3 people to help me, and okay, there you go. That's my dream job. Because you define this tiny, narrow thing of what you're going to say it's what you want, it never happens. And because anything else could happen, but it isn't what you wanted, it has a negativity to it. You did it. It's odds. The odds are so against the positive and are so in favor of the negative. Because what you said is, if I don't get what I want, it's negative. And I only want this tiny little thing. That's why the mind is so full of junk. Because you did it. Because these events are taking place. They aren't what you want. Or they are what you don't want, okay? You defined all these things. And so you end up storing all this negativity inside of you. Even when you get what you want to keep it. What kind of person wants somebody to walk up that they really love and say wonderful things and walk away and you never see them again? Nobody. So here I got what I wanted, but then it became a negative. He walked away. Is he going to call back? He didn't take my number. All of a sudden you're miserable. You're happy for a moment. All right? I used to do what's called a truth table. Getting what you want makes you happy. Not getting what you want makes you miserable. Getting what you don't want makes you really miserable. And not getting what you don't want is somewhat of a relief. Those are the only combinations. Most of them weren't so good. There was only one that really worked out well. All right? And it's not going to happen. And so the next thing you know, you have stored inside your mind all this stuff that happened that you didn't want. You created it. You didn't create the experience, but it was your resistance of the experience that left these scars inside of you. Experiences do not scar you. Water going into the ocean does not cause disturbance. It is the resistance that causes the friction, that causes the scars, that causes the disturbance. So you have done this, just like everybody else, don't be guilty. You have done this thing of collecting within your mind. This poor little mind is this brilliant computer, and you filled it with all these things you didn't like. It's broken. It's got all this stuff in it. That's why it creates the thoughts it does. That's why it's trying to release this stuff. It got hurt when it was little, and so it feels insecure because it didn't get to play the part in Alice in Wonderland that it wanted to and everything, and now it's afraid nobody likes it, and it's grown up now, so it's in big trouble. And it grew up with all that. Now it has to prove itself. Ever meet somebody who has to prove themselves all the time? You can just tell they're constantly trying to prove themselves. They have to be in the lead role. They have to do this thing. They have to have everybody like what they did. They could never be wrong. Anything anybody says is wrong, no, they're defensive. That's where it came from. That's what the mind is doing. So it has this garbage inside of it. Now it's trying to release it. And it releases it through your personality. It releases it through what comes out of your mouth. It releases it by your thoughts. Can you see that? Your thoughts are completely different than his. They are so different you would freak out if I put his thoughts inside your head. Because you just have these thoughts that got developed because of your past experiences that you resisted. And so now those thoughts are just oozing out of the mind because it's trying to release them. And what you're doing is the same thing you did before. I didn't want it to happen when it happened, so I resisted it. Now it starts talking about it or something reminds me of it. I don't like it. And so now I have a mind that needs to release all these thoughts. And because it needs to release them, everything it sees reminds it of it. You understand that? Free association. So now I'm struggling with all this junk that's in there. And the only way I know how to have out is to find someone who's really nice to me, who always behaves the way I want them to. Everything has to be exactly the way I want outside because I can't handle what's going on inside. If I can't handle myself, I need to manipulate you all so you behave in a way that I can handle myself. And what you get down to is the lowest part of your being is running your life. Anytime you feel you need another person to be a certain way for you to be okay, you are in big trouble. Because they are not going to be that way, and even if they were, you would not be okay. Right? You're not okay. You can't be okay because of somebody else. You can't be okay because you got a new job. You can't be okay because you got a new suit. You can't be okay because you got a new car. You can't be okay because you went to Hawaii. For a minute, it can distract you from the noise that your mind is creating. But it didn't get rid of any of the causes as to why your mind is doing what it does. How can a vacation in Hawaii change all this junk you've built up inside your mind about things that happened that you didn't like? It can't. It can just be that the volcano and the beautiful birds and the beautiful flowers and all that distract you from yourself temporarily, and you come back, you're right back there. It doesn't change. Please see this. I care about you. Again, if you did nothing but eat Twinkies and smoke cigarettes, I would be talking to you like this about your diet and your smoking. All right? Because I care about you. This is way bigger than that. I would rather have you smoke and eat Twinkies than not pay attention to what your thoughts are doing. So the mind is broken. It is creating these thoughts because it's trying to release the garbage you stored inside of it. You can't handle the thoughts because you couldn't handle the stuff you stored inside. That's why it's there. And so now you're sitting on a powder keg, aren't you? You're sitting on top of a volcano. Every one of you know at any minute somebody can say something, do something, and you're gone. You're in big trouble for a week or two or a month or 3 years or 10 years. I have met people, I'm serious, and it's sad, good people. Something happened. They were moving along, doing their sadhana, doing practice. Something happened. It hit something. Bye-bye. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. But did he ever return? No, he never returned. Fate is still unlearned. You gotta be old to appreciate that song. Oh my God, are you kidding me? That's all it takes. You've seen people go south, haven't you? Say, whoa, gone. Unbelievable. You do not have to be at the mercy of this broken mind. You are not supposed to be the servant of the lowest part of your being. It's not that your mind is low. Your mind is very high. What you have done with it is very low. You used it to resist reality, and now you store that inside, and it's trying to release it, but you won't let it. So now you're struggling, and that's where all the struggle comes from. Buddha said, all of life is suffering. You've heard that, haven't you? That is the first noble truth. This is why he said it. Everybody's doing this, aren't they? All right, they got all that junk in there, and they're suffering all the time. They're struggling with everything to try to be okay. You can't be okay that way, but you can be okay. But it starts with your relationship with your mind, not your relationship with your husband or your wife or your children or your job. It starts with your relationship with your mind. And here's how you deal with the mind. 1, it is sitting out there on the table and it is creating thoughts. Do not try to make it not create thoughts. I'll give you all the wisdom I've learned. Do not fight with the mind. Do not fight with the mind. The reason the way the mind got the way it is because you fought with it. You pushed stuff into it. You resisted stuff. You put the mind on the table inside yourself. You just see you are distant from the mind. It is creating thoughts. Tell it that's fine. It's okay. You create thoughts and I'll watch. You're going to have trouble watching because it creates some seriously sick thoughts. I'm telling you, the very thoughts it creates are custom made to bother you. Do you see that? Because you stored what bothered you. Since it's trying to release what you stored and you couldn't handle it, what it's releasing is what you couldn't handle. And that's why it's always thinking about what bothers you. Well, your thoughts wouldn't bother him at all. He'd wonder, why are you having so much trouble? Big deal. So you got divorced. Big deal. It was 10 years ago. Why is that still a thing? I don't understand. It's because the experience you had that was difficult for you, I told you, I didn't say that experiences are always nice. There's different things in life that come in and their vibration is heavier. Their vibration is like that. And there's other things in life that come in, their vibration is very pleasant. Nobody's questioning that. Nobody's saying reality is not reality. All we're saying is, will you please let it be done when it's done? If something happens and it's not pleasant, why do you want to keep it? It doesn't even make sense. You should want to let it go so you can get about your business and have a nicer experience and go about your life. But that's not what you do, is it? You resist the experience. And because you resist the experience, it stays inside of you. So now the key becomes, what do I do about this? You put the mind on the table. That's what you spend some time meditating. You do whatever you want. I want you to put the mind out in front of you. Just put it down. And I want you to try and just watch it create its thoughts. Why? By watching its thoughts it creates, you understand what's making it create them. All right? It's right there. I want you to be just, you're a scientist. You're an objective scientist. You sit there, there's the mind, it's creating thoughts. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. It's okay, mind, just create whatever thoughts you need. But you see what she did when I was young. Yep, I see it. Don't get pulled into it. It's just sitting on the table. Don't pick it up and start running around with, Just sitting over there, and it's creating thoughts. Now, I already warned you, if you do this, you're going to notice that when it creates thoughts, your heart jumps. There is a connection between your heart and your mind. Okay? And if the mind starts thinking nice things, sometimes it does, not very often, but sometimes it does, the heart opens up and it starts feeling pleasant. And if the mind starts thinking negative things, which it normally is, the heart closes down and it feels protective. Of course, if I walked up to you and started yelling at you, you would close up. If I walked up to you and started complimenting you and saying the nicest thing you ever heard, you'd open up. Therefore, if the mind is saying negative things, you close up. Your heart closes up. It doesn't take somebody outside of you to screw you up. You can do it to yourself. It's true, isn't it? All right. So you put it out here, and you understand it has nothing to do with me. It is just the sum of the learned experiences that I had that I was unable to digest. And you have one objective, only one. Not fix it, not make it stop hurting, not make it stop talking like that, not freak out, not hide behind other people. Your only objective is, I want to let this stuff go. I do not want to spend the rest of my life carrying this garbage inside of me, making me manipulate and control my friends, family, people, everything outside of me to try and make myself be okay. I choose not to live like that. I don't want this stuff inside of my mind. Not that I don't want my mind to say what it's saying. If it's saying what it's saying, I guarantee you there's a reason. Like some people, I was talking to somebody the other day about rebellion. Some of you young ones, you get rebellious, don't you, right? So whatever it was that got shoved on you that you didn't want to handle, whatever it was, like some of us grew up like that, you pushed it away and you resisted it. Now, if you hear anything about it, you want to do the opposite. You just rebel against it, right? If what was pushed on you is making you be like that, or if what is pushed on you is making you rebel against that, you're not running your life. Your suppressed stuff is still running your life. So you just basically have to sit there and say, yes, I grew up in a household that there was a problem and this was happening, this is what they did, this is what they did, this is what got dumped on me. I don't want it inside of me. Not I want to rebel against it, not I want to do what it says because I'm scared not to. I don't want it in me. I'm growing up now. I'm older now. And most people are 50, 60. I haven't said that yet, okay? I'm older now. Mommy and Daddy don't get to leave impressions inside of me that are going to determine how I act and how I be and this and that. So the whole thing becomes, first, theoretically, is it possible with that mind that's sitting on the table over there creating those thoughts based on those past impressions, is it possible to cleanse that mind so that it doesn't have those impressions inside? You look at me, yes. It's possible for everybody. Why? You're the one who held it in there. You know, if it was somebody else holding it in there, I don't know if you can get it out. All right? If there was super glue in there, if you can get it out. But if the only reason it stays in there is because you are exercising your will to push it away, and you are, what happens when it comes back up? Something you don't like, you push it back down, don't you? Give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Stop. I told you I don't like when you talk like this. Come on, stop it. So give me a minute. Give me a minute. What are you going to do with that minute? Okay, I'm all right now. Sure. Okay? And so you sit there and you realize there is only one reason, and I'm telling you the stuff that's in there since you're 6, your formative years, that doesn't impress me, those big words. It can all go. Because the only reason it's in there is because you're holding it in there. That's why I can say every one of you can do it. Because it's not a matter of doing something, it's a matter of not doing something. Everybody cannot do something. Right? Okay, pick up Mount Everest. I can't. Don't pick up Mount Everest. No, it's not hard at all. It's not hard to not do something. You can argue with me that you may not be able to get it out, to go down there and find it and get it out. I didn't tell you to. I told you to stop pushing it back down when it comes up. It's going to come up naturally because it doesn't want to be in there. So the question is, are you willing to relax and release? That's why surrender is the deepest state. Are you willing to relax and release for no reason, not because you want to go to heaven, not because you please God? There's only one reason you do this. I would like to know what it's like to live in here without all this trouble, wouldn't you? I would like to spend one day where it's just nice in here. I don't have to do anything out there to make it be nice in there. It's called unconditional well-being. I'm okay because I'm okay. I'm not okay because she loves me. I'm not okay because I got the house. I'm not okay because I got the job. I'm okay because I don't have anything inside of me that's not okay. Why are you healthy? Because I don't have a sickness inside of me. There doesn't have to be a reason. Why are you okay? Because I don't have the neurosis going on inside of me anymore. That's why you do it. If you're out there trying to get married, if you're out there trying to get a job, if you're out trying to get money, you don't really want those things. You think they're going to make you okay. This will make you okay. This cannot not make you okay. You're working with it directly. You've grabbed the bull by the horns. The Buddhists call working at the root. You're dealing with the cause of all problems that you have. And that is the stuff you stored inside of you. So you start to say to yourself, people say, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do? I want to get empty. I want to get rid of all this stuff. I want to see what it'd be like to take on the day, clean, excited, enthused. You hear me? And whatever's unfolding in front of me, I want to be passionate about it. I don't want to be afraid and the garbage from my past, and I don't want that junk going on inside of me. That's what I want to do with my life. I want to cleanse. It's called cleansing. That's spiritual cleansing, spiritual purification. Purification doesn't mean you don't swear. Purification doesn't mean you don't ever eat something bad. No, purification means you don't have that garbage inside of you. So, how do I do this? You put the mind over there on the table. You sit here. It's there. It's free to create thoughts. And you're free to let it. That's your way out. That's witness consciousness. That's mindfulness. That's what Krishnamurti called objective observation. Objective observation. Well, what's the big deal? If you are willing to keep your hands to yourself inside and notice, I am the one who's noticing what the mind is doing, and I understand why it's doing it. I'm not embarrassed if it's having this kind of thought or that kind of thought. I understand. There's problems. It's got stored inside of it, and now it's rebelling, or now it's thinking stupid stuff. It does anything. It doesn't matter. It can think whatever it wants. It doesn't make any difference. It's not your responsibility. It's not yours. It's just the result of the impressions that got left on it. Your responsibility is, do you want to keep those impressions in there, or do you want to let them go? And that is every second of your life. And you become a letting go machine. Well, how do you let go? Ultimately, what you do is when it talks, you relax. It's going to say what it's got to say, and it's not going to be pleasant. It's going to get you freaky, and your heart's going to start hurting, and all kinds of stuff's going to go on, because that's what's in there. What's in there is going to come up. And so now when it starts to come up, I'm telling you, I know you can't do it yet, but you'll learn, your highest state is when it comes up, you see yourself start to get defensive or start to get involved, relax. You relax. Don't make it relax. People say to me, I tried to make it relax, it wouldn't. Of course it wouldn't. It's got all this garbage in it. I'm not asking it to relax. I'm asking you to relax. You who's in there noticing that the mind is doing this. Relax. It's okay. It's just a process. It's nothing. It's not important. Oh, but I want to get married in my biological touch. Just relax. Relax. But how will I get relaxed? You understand that? Don't let it pull you in. It's amazing how if you leave it alone, life seems to unfold pretty good. You meet who you're supposed to meet when you're supposed to meet them. You get the job you're supposed to get when you're supposed to get it. All kinds of things go on. But you won't let them. Because you got only one thing you want to go on. The thing that you figured out will make all this work. All the garbage. Don't do that. Instead, relax. And what will happen is you'll give it room. What you're doing when you relax is you're giving it room to release. And do it with small stuff to start with. I told you all the time, the car was driving in front of you, the fact that the light changed when you didn't want it to. So relax. Now, are there other techniques besides relaxing? There are no higher techniques. There are no higher techniques than if you can relax, it's going to have the room to release, and you're going to step back into the deeper part of your being. But it is true that people need other techniques. People need things to help them. That is the purpose of meditation. That is the purpose of putting aside 15 minutes, morning and evening. And what do you do then? You put your mind out there, and then you're going to notice that the next thing you know, 3 minutes later, you're listening to everything your mind says. You get sucked in. Why? I'm telling you, the thing is perfectly programmed to get you, because it's programmed with your stuff. So don't get mad at yourself. Don't wonder why I can't do this. And don't wonder why the mind is saying what it's saying. And don't wonder why you have trouble with it. Do you see how it's custom fit? Best tailor that could ever live. Custom fit that thing for you. All right? It's a perfect universe. So it's over there, pull back, and then you're going to notice that not getting sucked into the mind is difficult. What is much easier is to distract your consciousness, focus it on something other than the mind. That way I'm not just sitting here letting the mind pull me in. That's why they tell you to follow your breath. So if you'll just sit there, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening, preferably the same time, and notice that your breath is going in and out. And people say to me, what's so important to notice when my breath's going in and out? Nothing. But the alternative is to notice what your mind is saying. I would rather have you notice your breath's going in and out. So during the time that your breath is going in and out, and you're paying attention to it, you don't have to pay attention to your mind. You can only focus on so many things at once. And if the mind pulls you out for a moment, oh, why did she say, you're right, I don't know why. Come back. Just come back and watch the breath. And you just do that twice a day. 15 minutes is fine. You want more, fine, but that's fine. And you're going to find over time, just like if you put 15 minutes morning and evening into playing tennis, you'll get better. Put 15 minutes into playing the piano, you'll get better. You can't not. You will get better at this. Better at what? Not paying attention to the stupid stuff that your mind has to say that is ruining your life. And the next thing you're going to know, you're driving your car, and your mind starts to go, oh my God, did I forget to talk to Sally? Is she mad at me? Why haven't I heard from her? So the next thing you know, you'll follow your breath while you're driving. Why? It's nicer than watching your mind. That's as simple as that. And eventually you will get to the point, I remember the day I got there, way long ago, in the 70s, early 70s, that I realized, oh my God, I don't have to listen to this stuff. There's no law. I do fine. I do better if I don't listen to it. I'm ready. I'm here. I'm present. And so you start more and more letting the mind release the stuff it needs to release. And guess what? Eventually it's not there anymore. I love the highest thing. People sometimes come to me and say, Mickey, I always ask me, am I growing? I don't know. But what I saw was, there's something that always bothered me. I don't want to talk about it, but it always bothered me years and years. Oh my God, whole life. Something happened the other day that would have really hit that. But it didn't. And it wasn't until later that I noticed, oh my God, nothing happened. So the event took place and nothing happened inside. Oh man, it's beautiful, isn't it? What does that mean? You let it go. You let it go. And I'm telling you, it all can go. Why can't it all go? You're holding it in there. So it's just a question, are you willing to let it go? Let your past go. Well, stop it. Don't hold on to this stuff. Just keep letting go. And what will happen is little by little you'll grow. Now the final thing is, what happens if I let go? All that energy that was involved in resisting and manipulating, you know what I'm talking about? That's a lot of energy. If you release it, that energy becomes yours. And you literally feel all this energy welling up inside of you, feeding you, lifting your heart, making you brilliant. Literally, you can be 1,000 times smarter than you think you are. They say you only use tiny percentage of your brain. This is why. It's all blocked up in that garbage. You let that go, and you'll feel all this rushes of chi, of shakti, welling up inside of you, feeding you. And then it becomes an ocean, a river, and it takes you deeper inside. I'm saying literally, you are supposed to be feeling ecstatic joy all the time. There is a state within your being that is always feeding you. It's like your natural state is beautiful. It's more beautiful than anything you ever received in from outside. And that happens from the moment you wake up in the morning and all through the day, and it never stops. That's what you're supposed to be feeling. So spirituality is this. And I haven't said the word God once. I'll tell you a secret. When energy starts flowing and starts pulling you inside, you come tell me about God. Because you're going to start to know about all the mystical teachings that all the great ones taught. And eventually you'll know what Christ meant when he said, my Father and I are one. You may not be there, but you'll see it. You'll see that what's deep inside of you is something very, very beautiful. The mind, not so much. But what's funny, ready? And I'm going to close. When the mind is done with all that stuff, Ramakrishna said, the purified mind is no different than the self. That's very, very deep. In other words, when you stop storing all this stuff inside the mind, the energy that the mind is natural of, it's made of shakti, it's made of chi, which is exactly what the self's emanating. And all of a sudden it all starts to merge, and the purified mind is no different than the self. The unpurified mind is really different than the self. It's a mess, and then the self stares at it, right? So this is your work. It's a great work, isn't it? So your life is wonderful. There's nothing wrong. There's just something wrong with what you did about your past and how you lived your life so far. But you can redo it. You can let go. You can grow every second of your life. So work with this. Work with this. So meditation you can do. Mantra you can do. Affirmation. If you're really having a lot of trouble, I don't use it very often, but once in a while I do. If you're having the mind is just fixated on something, just I don't know what's going to happen. I will just step right in there. If I can't really relax, I'll just sit there and saying, I can't wait for this to happen. There's going to be such good growth. I really like this. This is going to be beautiful. And the mind is so stupid that it starts to like it. Hey, can you train a dog to sit up? You train these animals to do all kinds of things. You're the highest species there is. If you can train their mind, why can't you train yours? It's brilliant. And so all of a sudden you start playing with this and make a game of it. Use whatever techniques you want or need. They're good, fine. But ultimately, I want you to relax and leave room for it to let go. And if you do this every day of your life, you become a wholer person. Work with these things. Jai Gurudev.